I have to have Chris fix mine. Mine has a block on it, so I can't get on YouTube while I'm in the school.
I don't see it yet, Matt. Nope, that might be getting there. There we go. All right, it is 6:01. Can you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any additional items to consider for the agenda?
We do not.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
I'll move.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 13th.
I'll move.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda today is 3.1 through 4.2. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that brings us to the nightlights. We will have Ms. Thomas come first.
Tonight, I am honored to recognize Jen Briggs for her commitment to excellence in early childhood education. This year, Ms. Briggs has taken on the task of redesigning our pre-K program for the 2024 school year. Through her thoughtful planning and dedication, our pre-K students have received a high-quality and engaging start to their educational journey. Beyond her work in the classroom, Ms. Briggs has actively pursued professional growth, participating in Wharton Gillingham training to deepen her knowledge of literacy instruction and completing coursework and certification in special education. Additionally, Ms. Briggs has embraced collaboration by working closely with professional developers from Madison Oneida BOCES in the areas of math and special education. Her willingness to learn, grow, and implement best practices is an asset to our school community. Jen, we are grateful for your hard work and dedication to our students. Although she couldn't be here, I'm so happy that I have a chance to honor her today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Yep, Mr.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I'm pleased to be here to recognize Lorna Simchik. Lorna is our head bus driver and director of our transportation department. As you know, school bus drivers have a very vital role in our day-to-day operations, with safety being the #1 priority. This is a recognition that I hope Lorna will share with the rest of her team of drivers. Lorna has a great commitment to this district and a great commitment to the work that she and her team does. Most notably and most recently with the winter that we've had, oftentimes when we don't delay or we don't cancel school, we still have to contend with some pretty rough conditions, whether it be in the morning or after taking kids home or in the evenings for extracurricular events. And they've done a great job this year, which was a difficult year. We haven't had a winter like this in a number of years, so I certainly want to commend them for their work in that sense. But really where Lorna shines is her flexibility and her commitment to make things happen. We do not have a very deep pool of bus drivers, and that's typical for most school districts. Very seldom do we have to reschedule, cancel, or alter plans because of a shortage of drivers or difficulty within her department. So you'll often find Lorna behind the wheel, covering for her drivers, and going that extra mile to make things happen. Very recently, we had a real shortage, and Lorna was able to pivot and communicate with parents all over the district to make sure that kids got home safely. So we're very pleased to have her. We're very proud of her. We're very proud of her team, and we thank her for all of her hard work. Lorna Suchet.
Picture? Yeah.
What do you want to do at the end? We'll do it with,
Do one?
yeah, when you do.
Yeah.
Next one, yeah.
Ready?
So tonight, we're honored to recognize our New York State Hall of Fame basketball coach, Tom Blackford. For 29 years, Coach Blackford has been the heart and soul of our basketball program, leading with passion and an unwavering commitment to excellence. His dedication and leadership have shaped the foundation of what our program represents today. With 43 years of coaching, over 900 games, 6 Final Four appearances, 2 state championships, his achievements are undeniable. Yet his true impact lies in the countless lives he's shaped through perseverance, teamwork, and character. Thank you for inspiring generations of athletes and for leaving an indelible mark on our school and community. On behalf of our entire district, we extend our heartfelt thanks and congratulations on a remarkable career. Coach?
Thank you. Thank you. Want me to jump down? No. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
We're gonna,
This is one of my proteges right here. Played for me, and just so proud of this guy right here, Mr. Integrity. Right here, Colin Wilson, Mr. Integrity. All right?
we're gonna
Thanks, guys.
take a quick break and take a picture.
Pictures? Gonna get in the picture with me?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go refraining behaviors.
Let's go down the corner.
I bet you how many kids today.
That's yours, Mia.
You know what I'm saying?
Clear the whole thing.
Yeah. I know I had a couple that would do that in a heartbeat. Right? How many kids every day jump down?
Yeah.
This is how I take these to SBI. And then I try to decipher it. I'm like, wait, what was I saying again?
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, guys.
And thank
See
you,
how-
Jen.
It's so nice to see.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yep. You can.
Hey, so I did that, what, 5 miles?
Good for you.
5 miles, man.
Perfect.
Super.
Thank you both. All right, that brings us to our community participation for the first part of the meeting. There are no comments online at the moment, so if you're online and you have a comment, please put that in for the next time. And seeing nobody in the room, we're going to just move on. That brings us to 7.1, which is personnel.
So,
I need a motion to accept the resignation for purposes of retirement of Margaret Rose, elementary teacher, effective June 30th, 2025, as recommended by the superintendent, with sincere appreciation for her services rendered to the district.
I'll move. Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve the addition of Carly Murray and Amanda Miller to the substitute list, with Ms. Miller being added specifically as a bus driver, contingent upon completing all required certifications and clearances as recommended by the administrative team, transportation supervisor, and superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Need a motion to approve Josh Budlong as an unpaid baseball coach for 24-25 school year as recommended by the athletic coordinator and superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A motion to approve the recommendations of the committees on special education and preschool special education.
Move.
I'll second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the following monetary donations with sincere appreciation and increase the budget by the amounts as recommended by the business manager and superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve the resolution as provided and to adopt the following transportation proposition, for submission to the qualified voters on May 20th. Do I need to read it? I do not. Great. Thank you. It is a roll call vote. So, Sung?
Aye.
Corey's not here. Amanda?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Roll call my name.
Michelle?
Aye. I don't know how it works, but that is passed. Thank you for that. I need a motion to accept the following request from the Hamilton Public Library to submit their proposition for inclusion on the district's ballot for submittal to the qualified voters on May 20th. Again, it is a roll call vote. So Sung?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye. Michelle?
Aye. That has passed. I need a motion to approve the legal notice for the budget hearing, budget vote, and election on May 20th, and authorize the district clerk to make any necessary changes as needed.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt the 25-26 school calendar as recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
You sure you don't want to stay for that year? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve Hamilton's participation in the combined sports for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the athletic coordinator and superintendent. It's modified and varsity football with Waterville.
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you to Waterville.
And good luck to the 3 tentative students. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to authorize the district clerk to open the ballot box and destroy the ballots blank and completed from the 24-25 budget vote election as recommended by the superintendent.
Move.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to appoint the following individuals to assist during the annual school board budget vote board election on Tuesday, May 20th, and to authorize the district clerk to appoint someone as an emergency, on an emergency basis, as recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Will you read this one? Here.
I need a motion to appoint Michelle Jacobson as chairperson of the annual school budget vote board election on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025.
I'll move.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And that brings us to information and correspondence. We'll turn it over to you.
Sure. It's been a busy month on the education front, both at the state level and federal level. There's been a lot going on, and it seems like every day there's new news coming out of both the state and federal offices. So the first is New York Attorney General Letitia Jones joined AGs, Attorney Generals from 13 other states, and the District of Columbia to issue guidance in response to the Education Department's narrative on eliminating DEI in schools. So it's very clear in New York State, educational institutions should continue to foster diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility among their student bodies. To be clear, nothing changes existing law.
and well-established legal principles that encourage and even require schools to promote educational opportunities to students from all backgrounds. So we will continue to follow New York State law and support all of our students from a DEI standpoint. Also, there was a joint statement from the Attorney General's office regarding transgender student rights. So state law continues to offer robust protections for New York State law, offers robust protections for transgender students, including the right to use facilities such as restrooms and locker rooms, and to participate on athletic teams that align with their gender identity. So school districts in New York State must continue to follow the state law and support transgender students. Third, this is from the federal Office of Education. So funding, so the state, or the Education Department is being dismantled by the current administration. And Linda McMahon, who has been appointed as the new Director of Education, put out a statement yesterday that funding for key programs such as Title I and IDEA will not be interrupted, even though the department is disbanding. Those funds are going to continue to flow to the states, which is huge because that supports our special ed students. Even though they are looking at closing the department, there's been a 50% reduction in the workforce at the department. The commissioner has stated that Department of Education staffers who were not terminated are involved in managing Title I and IDEA. So they are still on staff and supporting those programs, which is good news. She also said that the administration's goal is to eliminate red tape that holds up education funding and gives more financial control to states and districts. That is the goal. We'll see how that happens. But right now, those funding streams are in place, which is good news, because there was a lot of concern with that.
Do any of the funding streams affect our school lunch, our free school lunch or anything? That doesn't come down federally? Oh.
Not as we know right now.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yes, there are federal.
But they are federal
That's what I
funds.
thought. There are just a couple
Continue
things
to
that
advocate for it.
Yeah, yeah. They have not affected us to
Not
this.
yet.
Not yet, so we'll see. And then lastly, from the state, the one-house budgets have been, from the Senate and Assembly, were adopted today. They are both pushing back on the governor's proposal to eliminate cell phones from bell to bell. So the Senate, in their one house, has adjusted the executive proposal to allow districts to adopt local policies that address non-instructional time usage during the school day. So if you remember, the governor has proposed bell to bell. So right now, cell phones could not be out during passing and lunch, which we allow in our secondary. The Senate is saying that the school district should have local control on adopting policies that allow that. The Assembly has rejected the executive proposal banning cell phones. The Education Chair has introduced legislation to require all schools to adopt their own local policies, and she is providing an additional $25 million to support policy implementation. So the governor right now has earmarked $13.5 million. The Senate or Assembly Education Chair has saying that she wants to adopt $25 million more to that pool of money for districts. So we'll see. So there is pushback on the cell phone policy. Now the governor has said she's going to hold true to her push for bell to bell. So it's still a lot up in the air on where that ends up. So that's today's news out of the federal and state offices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else on your plate?
I was going to say, that's what you want to talk about today.
All right, we're moving on to administrative report.
Unless you have questions, we'll move on.
Okay? Any questions on the administrative report?
I think I have any.
I just have one question. I'm just curious what our selection process was this year for the Cooperstown Athletic Leadership Showcase.
That came out of the Leadership, Lauren Reynolds Leadership, Athletic Leadership Club.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to go before Matt so he doesn't steal your thunder?
Bill already stole a lot of it.
Sorry.
If it's not Matt, it's Bill, you
Okay.
know.
Athletic report, any questions there? Congratulations to our teams. You should all be
So good.
so proud of yourselves. So you're sitting here. But the way our students not only acted on the courts, but the students that went and supported and acted on the sidelines. I was very proud of every student that I saw at the games, and they should be very proud of themselves. I watched the last girls' game on TV, and the announcers were even saying how incredible it was that the fans kept cheering for the students even though we were down. And that is true to Hamilton. And so thank you to that group of kids, to all of our students, for the effort that you put in to support each other, because it really shines, and you should be proud of yourselves.
It's been a tremendous winter. When you think about our boys basketball team sectional semifinals, our girls basketball team sectional finals, we had a sectional champion in indoor track. We had participation on Casanovia's ice hockey team, and they did very well. So, you know, our athletes, both on their respective courts and arenas and then in the classroom, and then the support that they provide to each other at games is tremendous.
So very proud.
Just to echo that too, and to go one step further, you know, Bill and I were having a conversation earlier, and it actually brought me to tears, because it is incredible to see these athletes, and again, they're also the students on honor roll and high honor roll, and then, you know, you see them on the stage for maskers, and you see them in clubs, and you see them on Model UN, and our students, for being a small district, it's just absolutely incredible to me how many places our students are, and then still to be excelling in the classroom. It's just something to really, I think, really be proud of.
Absolutely.
Matt? One from Ohio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll have an update on electric buses, and I'll talk a little bit about the budget. On Friday, the 28th of February, I finally was able to connect. I had a formal meeting with project manager from NYSERDA, as well as Polera, who's the company that's going to be continuing our electrification study. This is going to be a slow process. NYSERDA is currently working with over 300 school districts in New York State and various companies like Polera to do these electrification studies. So it's a good thing that we have project managers assigned. We've had this initial kickoff meeting. Polera now is waiting on NYSERDA to issue them the purchase order. So they won't start the work without the purchase order, and they said a month or two is when they expect that to happen. So I'm sure there's a lengthy process within NYSERDA and at the state level for that purchase order to be issued. When that happens, our next meeting will be it'll be expanded to include the stakeholders that are knowledgeable in this area. I will be there, I'm not knowledgeable in the area, but Randy, Laura from here will be in that meeting. Representatives from the village will be there because they're our service provider through the electric utility. So we expect within a month or two, we'll have our next meeting. And that's when we'll really get into the details of the service coming into our site based on the fleet study that was conducted last spring to see if we're able to accommodate what our fleet would look like, and if not, what we need to. So
I'm glad it's moving along as fast as it is.
and honestly, for me, to be honest about it, I think slow is okay at this point without stuff going on. So we're still in good shape with the rest. So.
And Matt, thank you to you for getting on that when you did, to get us, I think, ahead of a lot of others in that queue.
Yep. Sure. Thank you. Budget-wise, so since the last time we met in February, we've had our first round of budget coffees. I think they were very productive. We submitted our tax cap, our final tax cap calculation to the Office of the State Controller. Our allowable levy increase for next year is 4.27%. And that was derived from a baseline increase of 2%, which is the lower of 2% of the statewide rate of inflation. It was up over 2% when we started to. A little over 1% based on growth, so new physical additions to the tax base in the district. And then a little over 1% for our capital levy exclusion. We are converting our short-term borrowing for this most recent capital project to long-term financing, so this will be kind of that last jolt increase in local share for the capital project. So that's where the 4.27 comes from. As far as out of the state, Billy alluded to it, we talked about the executive run. Just within the last day or two, the one house proposals are coming out from the state. I think people have had a chance to kind of digest a couple things. One is going back to the Rockefeller's Institute's recommendations for foundation aid and the impact of some of those changes. One of the things we're being told, and something that I'm cognizant of in communication with our team on, is data now is becoming more important in district data. For the last 15 years when the formula has been so out of whack, it really hasn't mattered because they were just using your current aid year as sort of a baseline and are building off of that. But now that they've implemented some of these new poverty measures and new pupil counts and different factors into that formula, district data is important. So even since the executive proposal, some of those inflation numbers have changed. So technically by the new formula they're using, even with the governor's proposal, using that formula, districts' base aid could change. So data is kind of more important again as it relates to the formula. If you recall, I talked about this at the coffees. I don't know if I did at the board meeting, but the executive proposal had a total increase in funding of about $1.7 billion, which was widely seen as positive. The two one-house bills are another $1 billion on top of that, so they're proposing an increase of about $2.7 billion. The biggest thing that would impact us with those one-house bills that we will certainly support is rather than a 2% sort of hold harmless minimum increase for districts, it would either be one of them was 2.9, one of them was 3. I don't remember which was which. But another percent for us, we're going from 2.14 up to 3 would be about $30,000. So definitely it's something we will advocate for and hope to see come true. There are some other things in there. Bill talked about a few of them. Another big one would be the increasing of the salary for CTE salaries and BOCES that's aidable from $30,000 to $60,000. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it would be helpful to all districts, especially for us, where we've seen a big increase in our CTE participation in recent years. So more to come on that in the next few weeks. On the expense side of things, costs are increasing. Breaking news. We're really in the same boat we were in last year. In the grand scheme of things, it's kind of the new norm. We are in the process now of really looking at our student needs and continuing to meet those needs. Our enrollment continues to decline, but the number of students that we have requiring services and that are being educated in alternative programs continues to increase. So in our March 24th budget coffees, we're going to dive into that in more detail. So we're really in that, we're really starting to ramp things up now internally of how we can continue to do what we do. We do have 5 retirements this year that could have a big impact on the budget and as far as how we kind of piece this all together. 3 instructional positions and 2 support, 2 teaching assistants. So we'll be looking at those positions and how we can take advantage of those moving pieces to keep things intact. So again, budget coffee on the 24th. We're going to get into, we we've asked Kevin to compile some data for us as his team continues to assess the needs of the kids. I'll take that, put it to paper with numbers, and we'll have more detailed news at the coffee on the 24th. So,
Thank you.
any questions?
He had some good graphs in his administrative report this week that kind of showed that.
Yeah,
So, but it was kind of shocking too to see just how
sure.
the enrollment was staying the same and the needs are just going up, so.
And really, we had this conversation within our team, it's when you're talking student needs and providing services, it's personnel,
Yeah.
right? So it's personnel and staffing, that's where the money is. That's such a big chunk of the budget, and then when you factor in principal and interest payments on our debt,
Mhm.
you really can't do anything with that. There's really not a lot of places to go for any significant savings, so that's why we really have to continue to keep being creative and put things on the table and talk to them. They're not easy conversations to have, but we'll get there. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Your turn.
All right.
All right.
So, Mr. Dazzler and I and SSAC have been talking a bit about bullying and how that
Oh, yeah.
relates to personal responsibility as a student at HCS. And we feel like we could increase the amount of responsibility that students have for their peers, holding their peers responsible, because we feel that a lot of these issues have been things where people are in groups, and there are opportunities where I could tell my friend, hey, I don't think that's a good idea, that's not what we want to represent here at HCS, you should not do that. And I think we've put together this honor code that I think really exemplifies that and gives a brief description that we're going to try and kind of put in students' heads through, right now the plan is an event after forum to just talk about this, maybe get people to sign the code. We're still organizing that, but just try and get this in people's heads that this is not a bystander activity. You have to be active and hold yourself responsible and also hold your peers responsible. So let's move forward.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you already seen
Yep.
this?
You gonna read it for us?
Yeah. So it currently reads, at HCS, we treat others with respect, kindness, and tolerance, and hold our peers accountable to do the same. So I just want this to be a message that's just in the back of everyone's heads. So whenever they're doing something, maybe it's a little questionable, they think, does this follow the honor code that we've seen? So we're going to present this to the school, and I'll hopefully get some feedback. If there's anything you guys think, any suggestions, anything to add, or wording to change, please just let me know, and we can definitely implement that.
Colin, this is such important work, so thank you so much. This is so much for our district. I love it.
Thank you.
We've been having conversations in the SSAC, and there used to be a pledge in the elementary where we aim high, and I don't remember the exact wording, but there was a junior who is on SSAC now who was able to recite that pledge. And everybody's like, oh yeah, we remember that. And it had meaning, and it, as Colin said, keeping that in your mind about, when you're in a group and somebody's doing something that you don't think is really acceptable, and being that upstander and say, let's refer to our honor code, let's hold each other accountable to do the right thing. So we've been having a lot of conversations, Colin and I, and then with the SSAC, and Colin's been leading that conversation with the group, and I think it's really important, and I'm excited about where this will go. We've talked about some signage, and having kids sign the pledge, and having conversations in forum, about, see something, say something. This could be very similar to that. This could be our honor code that we talk about consistently.
Nice
It's
work.
good work by Colin.
Yeah.
Have to get some stickers or something made for all of us with it on there.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
That's all for
Okay, I mean, that's a lot, and it's good, but I just didn't want to move on.
Thank you.
Elementary steering.
We have not met, but I did want to point out that Ms. Thomas has submitted her her grant proposal, and I don't know if I mentioned last time what the name of it was, but it's a seat at the table, building community in the cafeteria. So we're going to wait and see what they say. So we have steering committee next week, so we'll see. I don't know when we're supposed to hear back, but it was a lot of work. So I'm very excited that she worked really hard on that, to put that in, and I love the title, and yeah.
She did tell me that they acknowledged receipt of the grant.
Oh, good.
So they have
That's a
reached
step.
out. So that's a good step. Yeah, it's a first
Good
step. Yeah.
Great. Secondary has also not met. It was moved to next week. But one of the activities, things that they're working on is advocacy. So they're working on putting together some information so that the committee can reach out, phone call and emails, mostly phone calls, to local senators and others, and to try to help move school and education into the front of mind of these people that are making the decisions on our funding. So that will be good. Inclusivity?
Inclusivity. The committee met last week or the week before. Another great turnout by community members. The committee wrapped up reviewing the code of conduct, and they provided such great feedback and great work.
Good.
So thank you to them again. We had a student present to the committee from the Mosaic group, and that was very informative, and the community learned a lot about the great work that group is in its infancy and just starting out, but a lot of promise. And that sort of segued into sort of brainstorming how to get more students involved in the inclusivity committee. They're always invited, but it's a difficult hour for students. But this student showed up, and she gave great feedback to the committee. The inclusivity committee also picked up the conversation where they left off on the climate survey that was done last school year. So thinking more about sort of this idea of belonging in our school, which is great for them to think about that. And I think there's more sort of a direction to be kind of to be made, but to come together. I don't know what expression I'm looking for there, but I think there's some desire to kind of for the community to continuously sort of understand what's going on in the school and how students feel and how everybody's getting along. So that's really great that they're thinking about that. Yeah, that's it.
Just to add, the Mosaic Club had their first in-school event yesterday, I believe, or was it yesterday? Yeah. So at lunchtime, they had a table, so Mrs. Merck and Chris Amon and the students who were involved in the Mosaic group had a button making, so the kids could come down and design their own buttons, and then they purchased a button making machine, so they made their own buttons and handed them out, so it was fun. It was good.
That's great.
When did that group get started?
Pardon me?
When did the group get started?
This year.
Officially, yeah.
This
Oh,
year,
beginning of the
officially.
year?
Yeah,
Oh,
beginning
okay.
of this year, yeah.
Advocacy.
I will not repeat everything that Bill and Matt said. It's obviously that's the stuff on the forefront. Everyone should have received the NISBA resolution survey. It's due March 21st, so if everyone could fill that out. That is how NISBA lays out their efforts for the coming year. So that's important to know what their constituents feel are important. An SBI recap. There's a lot on here, so I'll talk fast. So the NISBA convention this year is October 24th, 25th in New York City. The following 2 years are going to be in Buffalo, and then the plan right now is to alternate every year instead of staying in one place for 2 years, but right now they only have the 2 locations of New York City and Buffalo. Syracuse is absolutely out of the picture because it was so disastrous last time. They said that Rochester may come back. They're looking into that. There was a lot of us in the room, obviously from this area, saying, why don't you look at Turning Stone? You know, it seems like a viable place. So, so Bill and Miller went back and talked to NISBA about that, and they came back with a long list of 5 reasons why. But the main reason was that there's not enough guest rooms or exhibitor space there. So they need a space of a minimum of 64,000 square feet and a minimum of like 1,200 rooms. So if anybody has any place in mind that may fit that could be closer to us, NISBA will take that into account, but Turning Stone is not it.
Nothing in Albany, right?
There's gotta be.
Yeah.
So again, if anybody knows of any place, let me know and we can pass that on. We need to have a discussion. Bill Miller wants to run for the NISBA board rep for Area 5 again, and he's looking for nominations for that. So he asked the board representatives that were there if we would be willing to nominate him, and if so, you know, I can work with Jody. He gave like the exact verbiage that needs to come in for the nomination. So I don't know if we can do that just over discussion or if we have to make that official or not, but.
Are there other people trying to run for
I
it?
don't think so. Bill has been our district rep for as long as I can remember. He did say, so it's a 2-year term. He did say that he just got on the national board, so this would be his last time running. So, let me know your thoughts on that. They did have a board of directors meeting for NISBA. He did say that the thing that was talked about a lot was obviously like the Department of Education, and this was a few weeks ago, so it hadn't been disbanded yet, but basically it was like nobody really has any ideas what will happen. At that time, NISBA, depending on who you asked, they had like 3 different versions received in like a matter of like 2 days of what was going to happen. And I'm sure there's probably much more now. The one thing that stayed consistent was that if the department disbanded, that the money from the department would not go away, but that everyone was kind of unsure of what the distribution process would be for those funds. They also stated, they talked a lot about DEI, and they felt that New York was one of the safer states with that because of how our programs, our state programs are structured. That, like, I guess they're looking for certain like trigger words and things like that for taking away the funding. So those were the 2 big topics there. There are 2 districts right now, potentially more, undergoing superintendent searches, Mount Markham and VDS. VDS is a really big one. It's been over 40 years since they've had to do a superintendent search. So that was like the big thing with that. They are looking for SAA nominations, and I think Bill said that we're working on that. And they're really trying to captivate the students with that process. They said it's really hard, like they have some amazing students that get submitted, but it's literally like 3 sentences. So it's really hard to compare when you have another one that's like 4 pages long and really being articulate. So really just trying to take that opportunity to acknowledge students who are really doing amazing things and in our district. They are looking for presenters for educational programming. So we brainstormed some ideas If anybody else has any ideas, let me know, but some of the ones that came to the table, we're having like certain employers come in and state kind of like what they're looking for in their employees, and having BOCES superintendents potentially come in and talk about like how they're perceiving the Blue Ribbon Commission proposals, because everyone kind of has different outlooks of what they think that that means. So they said that the BOCES superintendents would probably be the best people. At first they said the New York State Education Department, but then they said that it could be too far removed from us to have them come in. So our BOCES superintendents would be a better resource. Couple different comments were made about how happy actually the legislators called it out, and many people in the room, of superintendents that came to a legislative forum. And we were very lucky that Bill went to that as well. So they noticed that and acknowledged it, and even the legislators had said like, wow, like usually we don't get a lot of superintendents. We're really happy that we had more this year, and we'd like to see that. So thank you to Bill for that.
You're welcome.
They are working on summer meetings with the legislators, so more to come on that. We'll let you know. The membership committee talked about, so right now, SBI will give like a certificate if you have so many hours and things with them. So they're talking about changing that and making it, trying to get more involvement by actually turning it into like, the top 2 or 3 people will get a gift card for their district to buy supplies for their food pantry or hygiene closet or things like that, trying to get more people involved, because that seems, it's more of a motivator than a certificate that you're just going to tuck away. Again, super thankful for our board. There were actually more people than I'd like to admit that spoke up, saying that they were having a lot of Board of Education issues. Their members just aren't going to their meetings, and they're like not being able to vote because they can't make quorum and things like that. So again, I think it's a testament to Hamilton, and so thank you everybody for showing up. There is a new president for the 25-26 school year. Doug Gustin is stepping down, and Tony Nicotera will be the president next year. And then there's a new first and second vice president coming in. And I think, the other thing that they talked about were the educational showcases that they do, and they rotate each year between the 3 BOCES. So they're having a problem with both people coming to that and schools participating in it. So they talked about potentially like doing every other year and rotating between the district. There were ideas of, maybe we can do the host site at the 3 different places each year, but invite all schools from all 3 component BOCES districts, trying to get more people. So more to come on that. They were actually going to have a conversation. I think that they only have like 2 schools participating this year. So it was a matter of like, do we still have it? Do we not? These 2 schools, the kids already put so much work in, but, and I guess it's a lot of work to actually host these as well. So I know we went last year and it was really great to see our kids. So if anybody has any ideas to make that better and be able to showcase our students and the things that we're doing, they're looking for ideas for that as well. I think that's it.
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Board updates. So the MO BOCES annual meeting is Wednesday, April 9th at 6 p.m. If you haven't already and you plan on going, please let Jody know so that she can mark us down, and make sure you let her know your meal selections, because that needs to be done ahead of time. Petitions are available for Board of Education candidates. Please contact Jody for more information. There's a budget coffee on March 24th at 9 a.m. and at 5 p.m. There'll be another one on April 8th at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And then on May 13th is the public hearing at 6 PM for the budget, and May 20th is the vote from noon to 8 PM in the bus garage. That brings us to community participation. The room is still empty, and online is pretty quiet. So we will move on, and I need a motion to adjourn to executive session. The board will discuss matters pertaining to the employment history of particular individuals, focusing on particular individuals.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll take a 10-minute recess.
This on.